Okay, I think I forgot to record it. Anyway, let's start this. So this is select index. So we have 3 teams, right? If we select index 1, sorry, 0, we do Australia team, so which we add 3 different types. Now, if we select 1, case 1, United team, we have 2. If we do the Fiji, we have 3, right? That is regarding to this, okay, selections. Now, then, as you can see, now in our screen, we haven't done what? We have not done dive yet. So the next thing is we're gonna modify, we're gonna write a code just for the dive cost. Okay, so we're gonna double click the dive cost button. Okay. Why I only have dive with not clear form? Did I forgot to type the clear? I should have dive cost, right? How come I have this one instead of? Okay, let me see I do have dive cost. Maybe it's too small. Okay. This one is clear form. Oh, I didn't write clear form. Okay, I don't need it. So it should be or just clear. Okay, so this is dive cost is clear. Now I double click dive cost. So I'm gonna for each button, you are going to have a procedure associated with the button. So we double click the dive cost. So what happened, as you can see here, now you are going to have this procedure, dive cost, bottom dive cost click. Now, first of all, I'm going to type the comment, right? The documentation. Now, the comment will be this button, event handler, determines the cost of scuba expeditions and display the size of the dive team. The cost and the length of the dive. So which means if we click the dive cost, now you are supposed to have, the number of the number of team members, how many persons, right? And you're gonna select the locations and you're gonna select a certain dive. Then it will calculate because each dive have different price, right? And you're gonna calculate total. Now this is a common part. Now, in order to do that, we do need to define variables. For all the variables we define under bottom cost will be the local variable for this procedure, which means only if I click button and I call this bottom cost, dive cost from procedure, then I will have these local variables inside of my memory. But after I finish, after I click, after the compiler run until the end sub, so all the memory space reserved for those variables will be gone. There was a local variable. Okay, so local variables life is always short. Okay, most of the time we like this short lifespan because it will not occupy too much space in our memory space. Okay, in our memory. So we have this comment here. Now we're going to define the variables. Okay, the first one is the size of team. So TIM dimension. Okay, int team size. Oh, sorry, size as integer. So you can see when we name a variable, So we always want to start like, if we have multiple words, start from the second words, each word's first letter should be uppercase. So team size, T and S should be uppercase. Then team number in team is valid. It's like a Boolean value as Boolean. It is BLN. Boolean number. Is this a Boolean number? Is this a valid number? Because if I type a negative number or if I type a letter, it should be invalid, right? You want to be a positive number, like a 1, 2, 3, 4. If I type -1, it will be wrong. It will be, the valid is, it's not valid. Then we have another one. Besides, we have number. We have to select from the list. So we have to do div BLN div is selected as Boolean equal to false. So which means that if you want to press the calculation button, which is div cost button, now you're supposed to do these two things. Put a number here. Why my this one is also off? What's wrong with this? Last time was fine. Okay, so not only the number you put in the box is valid, but also you select from this list. Okay, because once you have the locations, you select the list. So these two things should be valid. So we have to define those two lines. Dim Boolean div is selected as Boolean false. Also, we have a dim int div cost div choice as integer, like even for the selection of in your list box, right? For the Australia, you have 3 selections, right? Those also collections. Those will also have index number 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So 0, 1, 2. So for the, as you can see here, for the first one, list div, you have 1, 2, 3. I mean, which is index 1, 0, 1, 2. For the B lines, 0, 1. For the Fiji, 0, 1, 2. So they do have index numbers. To as long as you have collections, no matter what kind of collection you have. Okay, like a list, array, couple box, all of this. As long as they're collections, no matter what type of collection you have, the collections are a bunch of items which have the same type put together. So you can always need to have index number. We have this. We're gonna have string selection team. Okay, string selection team. So if we select a team, I'll select team. So this is a empty string equal to an empty string. Now we have division int location twice. So you want not only you type something inside of your box and select from the selections, but also those selections should be valid. Int as integer equal to 0, int length is 0, and then we have dimension, decimal, location, total cost as decimals. So those numbers are all local variables for this procedure, which means now it's only for this. When you call bottom div cost, it will have the memory space, and when you hit when the compiler hit end sub, all the memories for those variables will be gone. So we have do that. The next part is we want to make the input valid. So the next part, right after we define those variables, now we're gonna make sure those input are valid. So which means I put the right of the valid number in our text box. Also, we choose the from the list. Okay, we make selection from the selection location, and also we make selection from the select type, and also we did this. So once we have the 3 valid input from the comma box, from the text box, from the list box, then my dive cost will be able to do some actions. The next thing is we're gonna call. So now they make the two valid procedure to check: is your number selected, is your number valid, or is your choice valid, index valid. So, but first of all, we type call a function to ensure the number of people in, so which means to make sure your text box is valid in the dive team is valid. So we choose Boolean number team is valid, and we are going to call a function. At this point, we have not defined this function yet. We're going to define the function later behind this procedure. So we can do so. Okay. So inside of one class, the procedures can call each other. Okay. So is this Boolean number in team valid or not? So we're going to use a function our procedure to do that, which is called validate number in team. So at this point, we have not defined this yet. Okay, so as you can see, it has a red underline. Okay, but don't worry, later on, after we finish this one, we're gonna define those procedures. So we're gonna define the valid number in team, and also we're gonna define valid dive selection to make sure the numbers you put in the text box is valid, and also the one you choose from the list box is also valid. Okay, so at this point, you can see you have this red underline. So last Wednesday, I have a student ask me a very good question. So one student said, like, why do they have this empty parenthesis behind the procedure name? Okay, so the procedure in some cases we call the function. So we borrow this idea from mathematics. So if you learn Math 101 or Math 134, you know, if I talk about a linear function, quadratic function, I use f parenthesis x, right? So this is a parenthesis means that is a function. So if I have this valid number in team with an empty parenthesis, or in the previous one, you can see here, I have a text txt team dot focus empty parenthesis. So that tell you dot focus is a function, is a existing procedure with a parenthesis. So inside the parenthesis, we might have parameter to put, to modify our output value. We might not have value, parameters. Sometimes you can see you have function fx equal to 5, right? If you have function fx equal to 5, so no matter what x you have, it will not change your output value, right? This is in mathematics, so you can write it as a y equal to 5, have nothing to do with x. Okay, that is one, it's still a function. For one x, you only have one y value. So as long as you qualify this, that's called function. Okay, but sometimes, a lot of time, you do need parameters to get a different y value. So I think last time we mentioned for procedure or functions, if we have parameter, then this parameter has two types. Either we call pass by value, or we call this as pass by reference. It has big difference. For the most functions we handle right now, are all passed by value. Now, which means now when I call this function, I'm going to send a copy of this parameter and give it to this procedure. Okay, so whatever happened to the procedure will not affect the original copy. Okay, that's called call by value. So most of functions we use call by value parameters. Some function we use call by reference. Now, if I use call by reference parameter, that means not only I'm not going to give them a copy. I'm going to let them to have access to this original data, to this variable, have access to this variable, so they can go inside to modify this variable value. So by doing that, I can return or I can modify more than one value, because in the future you will know what if you want to modify more than one value. How can we do that? By using pass by reference. Okay, so back to the topic. Now, even if I do not have any parameter, I still need to carry this dependency. I still have to carry this empty dependency to tell them this is a function or this is procedure. Like this one dot focus dependency. This is a system function. That's why the color is brown. Okay, focus. That means I do not need any parameter. So item dot add. So this called adding a list. Adding an item in the list, so they do need a parameter. So this is a regular traditional pass by value. Okay, this is another one pass by value. So the easiest one, the easiest parameter is a pass by value. So which means you just pass the value to them, not the whole variable. Okay, so whatever happened to that value will not affect the original copy. Okay, the original copy is still stay in this original place. Nothing to do with that. Like you can see here, we declare. So we're gonna call a procedure, but at this point, this procedure is not defined. So we're gonna define this procedure right after I finish the dive cost procedure. That is why at this point you see the red underline, because I have not defined. Once I define this red underline will be gone. Okay, so you're gonna call the outside procedure to make sure is this number in the box valid or not. So if it's not valid, you're gonna have the message box. This is the one thing we do. I know another one, we're gonna call another function to make sure you have the right selection from the list. A function to ensure a scuba dive was selected, which means you select from the list box. Space. Again, so this time it will still be a outside procedure to help you do that. We do int dive choice equal to no valid. Are you gonna see this red underline again because we have not defined yet? Valid dive selection. Okay, and here we do need two parameters. This Boolean number of dive selected is selected, and then we have a string selected team. Okay, but you know, this is we have not defined that, so we want to make sure have we selected the dive and have we selected the you know this from here. Okay. So this is like we can call from an outside procedure, which is also from this class, to do some action. So within a class, the procedures can call each other. So previously, last class I told you, we have access modifiers. So we have two most popular access modifier. One is public, one is private. Public means you can access from outside. It's open to public. Private means you can only access within the class. So in order to protect data, we want all the procedures or data to be private. As you can see here, the class variable, they're all private. The procedures are private, which means we can only access within this class. If we want to access from outside, it will not be able to do that. Okay, so the only way you modify those class variables are calling inside procedure, okay, to protect data. So from if we do not define private by default, the programmer want to be like, the compiler, not programmer, compiler want everything to be public, so they can everybody can access, everybody can modify. But you don't want to do that. You want to protect your data. Then we're gonna type the rest of it. Now we're gonna still use a select and case, right? Select is like based on whatever the value after select, you choose the labels. If the whatever behind the select is match 0, you do case 0. If it match 1, you do the case 1. But anyway, let's do the rest of the code. So we do a number of people and the dive trip are valid. If they are valid, then we can do some action. We can do the calculation. Then we calculate the cost. Here it will use the if else statement. So if they are valid, if these two are both valid, like a Boolean number in team valid and the Boolean dive is selected. Okay. If they are both Boolean, then you can, like they're both true, then you can do some action. So if BLM Boolean number in team is selected, and we have an AND operation. AND means you have to qualify both of them. So both of this Boolean should be true, then the whole thing will be true. And Boolean dive is selected. Okay. Then do some kind of action. Then what? Then int team size. Then in the team size equal to now convert to int 32. Now what is this? Now if you remember, then we have mentioned that everything you see inside of your user interface, everything you see or you type into your user interface, they all string type. So if you look at this one, so no matter you have the the text box or the label or whatever, so everything you see on the user interface, they all strings. So you have to convert, if you want to do the calculation, now you have to convert to the numbers. So convert to int 32. So we have learned, this is not the first time we see that. We see this on chapter 3 when we make the lattice selections. Now you change or you convert a string to a 32-bit integer. So we can do the calculation. So int team size equal to convert dot to int 32 team dot text. Now we have this. Then we do the location, int location choice now equal to combo location dot selected index. Okay, the combo location, 3 of them, right? Australia, Belize, and Fiji. Now we're gonna do this one. select case. So those two are together are keywords. This is like it's very similar to a switch statement in our Java or Python. Based on the value behind select case, we match the label. Okay, select case what? Int location cost. the location choice. Now, if it's match 0, which means if I choose the first one, which is index is 0, then we do one action. This action, Australia dive cost, is just we call another procedure, which is not ready yet. Okay, so you're gonna see red underlines. Okay, you're gonna see the red underlines. So we're gonna make a procedure call. So the whole idea of the programming is, if we have a big project, we separate into small pieces, and for each small piece, you only do one task. Okay, so for this small piece, you only do one task, which is calculate total cost. But you can, call each other, call all the other procedures. So you are calling the other procedures. So we have a special procedure for Australia dive cost. We have another one for Fiji, another one for the Belize, because each location, they have their own list, right? And they have, each of them have their own price and a time. So we have Australia dive cost. You're gonna see the red underline again because you have not defined this procedure yet. So far, you see we have 3 procedures not defined. Actually, you're gonna see we're gonna have Belize, Fiji, right? So we're gonna have a lot of one you have to do. So for the chapter 7, you have many procedures, not like the previous one. The previous one, we only have, how many buttons we have, then we have how many procedures. Now we have more because we try to keep our procedures short enough, not too long. We have int team size because it, different people has a different, the more people you have to pay more, right? Less. For the case, we have case 1. We're gonna do the other one, total cost, but it will be very similar. The only difference of between this, on line 102 and the line 100 is the name of the function, but they have the same parameter. So what I will do is I'm gonna copy this line, Control C. I like to use Control C a lot, and Control V again. Now, instead of Australia, we're gonna modify to Belize. So this is another one. You can see the red underline. So the red underline means we have not defined. If you see green underline, that means we have not used yet, right? So if you see the red underline, it has more problem. So if you don't use that, you have green underline, just give you a warning message. Will not affect the running. But if you see red underline, which means you did not define or you have syntax error, then the whole program will not run at all. Okay. So we have this one, the case 2. If you choose the last one, we're gonna paste it again. Okay, then this time instead of Australia Belize, we're gonna have Fiji. Then we have and selection. It's 57 sunny. So I heard tonight they have the thunderstorm, very heavy thunderstorm. They might have like a power loss or something. So you're gonna be careful. I think start from 5 p.m. It's gonna start to rain. 6 p.m. I mean, yeah, have like a heavy storm. It's not like thunderstorm, heavy storm. They even have the snow upper in the Sullivan County. It's like a 8-inch snow. The weather is, the weather is crazy. That is what I can say. This weather is crazy. So tonight it will be below 0. I mean, like below 34 degree. So we have this next part is going to display. So we call this special procedure to call our cost, to calculate the cost. Then we're going to display the result. So we're going to display the result. Display the cost of the scuba dive. So this one, LBL scuba dive dot txt equal to div, which is empty space, and we have this, and this is what string combination with this with theta, this one symbol combines the two strings together as one whole string, so you can display as a result. So we have 3 result label you have to display. So we have div and we display the string selected team. As you can see here, we define a string selected team. You know, which one you're gonna select, right? String 1 or 2 or 3, right? So you're gonna have that. Now we have this. Now the other, we have 3 label results. So the other one is the label LBL cost dot text. So whatever you want to display on your user interface, they're all inside of your different toolbox tools text property, right? They all string type. Everything you see, they always string typed. So LBL cost.txt and do cost. We have the and string combinations. Decimal total cost to string. Okay, see, so this is another one we learned before. It's not first time we see this. Now, total cost dot to string. So you calculate decimal total cost. It is a decimal number. But if you want to display on your user interface, you have to switch it to a string type. So we call this decimal number dot to string. Then we have a parenthesis, double quotation mark C, which means the currency, which is currency. And we learned that also in chapter 3, I believe. Now, if you want, we can look at the table, which is we look at many times before, right? That is let me see the number. Okay, it's a book. So this is book. Look, as you can see, because we always, if I want to display a number in my user interface, I always need to call these procedures, the existing system procedure to switch from a decimal to string. So this one you see here, in general speaking, if I want a general number, it's to string double quotation G. But we always use C. C means we have $. We have $sign in front. So currency. So display the number with $, 2 digits to the right decimal. Okay, so that is the most popular one. As you can see, I think in the past, we always see this, right? The first time we see this is from the lattice selection. So back to the topic. And the last one, the last label for this one will be LBL length dot text. How long it is? Equal to length. Then we have string combination, int length. Again, to string. Now you don't need to have any parentheses. You don't want to nothing to be really matters. If I use a to string, if I do not have anything inside of parentheses, then I don't have to care. So it's just like in general, just whatever you have, just convert. Then behind it, you have what do you say? Hours, space, hours. So that is this, and if, and we have and sum. So this is what we had just for dive cost. Okay, so in the dive cost, we pretty much just call the 2 outside procedure to see is the number valid or not. So is my valid number in team valid or not? If so, we see, and also if we select the right dive. So if we all select it, then we can do the cost. But we have not defined the Australian dive cost. We have not defined those yet. So the next step, if we look at the code in the chapter, the next part we will do is we're going to define the procedure of this valid number in team. Okay, this is a private function. Help us to see is our number valid or not. Okay. And now, in order to know this, since we want to say is our number valid or not, we're going to learn a try catch exceptions keyword. I mean, like a what do you say? A format, or you can say the syntax. Okay, so the try catch is very important. Okay, all the other languages have also this try catch. We call this exception handling. Okay, so let's take a look at this before we start our coding. So this is a new thing we learned today, try catch. Okay, so this is to handle. We're gonna use this try catch to see, do we have the valid input? Do we have the valid what do you say? Dive selection. Okay. So as you can see here, Visual Basic provide another tool you can use to detect exception and take correct actions. Try catch. This is not only for VB, okay, but other classes, other languages also have this try catch. So you can see the format is try, then try this block of code. If something happened, if there's some exception happened, which means some error happened, then we catch the error. Okay. Now we have different catch, different error. You have system error here. So right after catch, it shows you the filter for possible exceptions. Now you might have several catch. Okay. What catch you're supposed to have? So right here, as you can see here. Now this is an example to show you how the try catch works. So you can see in the figure 7-44, decimal number numerator as decimal, denominator as decimal, and division as decimal, and you calculate decimal numerator equal to convert to decimal, this, and decimal numerator, I mean, just convert to the to the decimal. Then I mean, from this, from your user interface, you convert from string to decimals, then you do the action. You want to divide. Decimal division equal to the decimal numerator divide decimal denominator, but it might have something wrong. What if you divide a 0? So they have the catch exception as. What kind of exception? Exception, some kind of like unexpected, some kind of error. So this is one, divide by 0 exception. If you divide by 0, it will show you a message, attempt to divide by 0. Now here, we're gonna have, so next page, it shows you the common exceptions. Okay, so but you do have more. We have more than that. Okay, this is like the most popular exception right now. We what we should remember. Okay, but we have many exceptions. Okay, which means what if something happened? What if some error happened? Yes. Yes, definitely. Yes. So you can see how here we have this 6 most popular exceptions. Okay. Argument no exception. It is a variable that has no values passed to procedure. So which means suppose we're supposed to have parameter, but we don't. Okay, that is one error. Okay, like this. String term as string and list display item at string term. So you do not have value yet. So you're gonna have value to pass it. So you have to get an input from user, then you pass it. So that's called argument no exception. Okay. Keep in mind we have more than that. Okay, that is the 6 most popular exceptions. Now the other one, as you just see from the previous example, divide by 0. It is also a very popular exception, a popular error. Okay, a valid value is divide by 0. Another one is format exception. A variable is converted to another type, which is not possible. Okay, like you can see here. This is a string, and with 2 int this. 2 int 32 is like convert whatever behind the parenthesis from a string type, from a digit to a number. But you know, code cannot divide, cannot convert, right? So if you can convert a digit to 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, in the keyboard, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. They are digit. So if you convert digit, that is okay. But for this code, it's impossible. So this is a format exception. And we have no reference exception, which means a procedure is called when the result is impossible, like this. So you have a string, and you can tell the string is length, which is empty at this point, okay, because we haven't defined anything except path value to the string term yet. And also one of the popular exception is overflow exception, which means it's too big, we cannot handle. Sometimes you assign a place, you know, a value to this is too big, like this one, as you can see here. A value exceeds the assigned type value, because we know if we define variables, each type of variable, they have their own number of bytes, right? For integers, we have 4 bytes. For decimal, we have 8 bytes. But you know, as long as you have this, you know, different memory size, they can handle, you know, they do have a limitation. Okay, all the numbers, they have limitations. So if you exceed or above this limitation, you have the error, which is called overflow exception, like this one. If it's an integer, int cost is a regular integer, but if you assign a huge number, it'll give you error message. I mean, it'll give you overflow. It cannot handle. Besides that, we have system exception, which means all the other exceptions, all the other errors. Okay, so as you can see here, now this is a overflow exception. Okay, see, you define an int base value as integer, and you define int squared value as integer. You define these two variables, and you assign a base value as how many? 50 million. If a base value is 50 million, and your integer, I mean, square value is 50 million square. So it definitely is too much to handle. So if you know, for the integer, you have a 32-bit. So which means you can only handle, the maximum value you can handle is 2 to the power 32. Okay, 2 to the power 32 is a large number, but it's still less than this much. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, we have this 6 most popular exception, but you do know we have more than that. Okay, so if we have some error happen when we try this block, so when we try this block, if we have some error happen, we catch this one and we can do some action, like a display a message box. That is what we should do in our valid number check function. We check the value. Is it true? If not, we're gonna have to catch, display message box. So as you can see, this is a try catch. It's try catch is not only for VB. Okay, it's not only for VB. Try this block. We're gonna run this block. If something happens, and we're gonna do some action. So try catch exception. Now this exception as try catch exception as maybe argument for known for exception, argument, try catch exception as divide by 0. Okay, it happens. Okay. So right after our what do you say? Bottom type cost. Right after this and sub, we're gonna add the functions for this one, valid number of team. So we're gonna type. Now this one, since we're gonna define the actions we're gonna do. So now this time we're not called the procedure anymore. We're not called sub anymore. We're called function. Okay, so to code this, click below this one. We're gonna type the function procedure. So valid number in team. You know, we assign this valid number in team to a Boolean value. So which means the return result will be a Boolean. So we're gonna type from here. So I'm gonna type from this 113. We're gonna type a private. Okay, it automatically adjusts to uppercase P. Okay, the function. Now we call the name validate number in team. So we do have a parenthesis, empty parenthesis. nothing inside because according to this, I do not have any parameter. It's empty parenthesis. Okay. Then as so you should use the bathroom before you come here. Okay, Boolean. Okay. So we define this and it's as AND function. Now this one, what does this one do? Try to see is this value number of team is valid or not. As you can see, right after I write down the function header, the red underline disappear, right? Red underline disappear because I start to modify the code now. I start to define this procedure now. We call this as now this procedure validates the value entered for the type team size. Okay, now you see here we have a dimension int team size as integer. I know probably some of you guys has taken Java before. That is why you probably think this class is too easy. Okay, you should take this baby class before you take Java class. Then your life probably much easier. But unfortunately, I see at least 2 or 3 you guys took the Java class before. Okay, so we have this int team size as an integer, and we have this Boolean validation check. Validity check as Boolean. I'll give a default value which is false. By default is false. Now, Boolean value is like an integer, but it's only occupy 1 byte because it's only have 1 value, 2 value, true or false. So actually, it's only need to use 1 bit. 1 bit is enough. But when we define our variables, we don't start from bit. We start from byte. That is why for the Boolean value, you occupy 1 byte. Okay, true or false. If it's true, it's 0001. 0001. We have 7 zeros in front of it. 1 byte is 8 bit. Next one is string number in team message. As string, we will define a message, a string equal to please enter the number of people in your team. You give you a choice, a range 2 to 6, not too many. If it's above this, you should be and also we do have another one is error message. String message box title. We learned message box in chapter 5. If you type the floor number, right? Okay, box title as string, which is show you arrow. We use if we have message box, not only you can assign the title, but also you can assign different type, right? Do you want to have OK or stop or this different symbol on your message box? You can do so. Right? That is on chapter 5, floor calculation. Now we have defined those variables. Now we're gonna do catch, try catch. Try this code to see anything wrong. So if we catch those errors, we're gonna do some action. Most likely, we're gonna display a message box. So we're gonna try catch. Try the code. Try the code between try and catch. Try this int team size. So int team size equal to, again, convert the text box. We make sure whatever we type in the text box is, to convert to the integer. So convert dot to int 32, which is a txt text team dot, so which is a text box. Whatever type in this empty text box, we first of all, we're gonna convert to a integer, and then we have to check, is this within the range, because they do have a range, requirement. Either you have 2 or no, between 2 and 6. Okay, no less than 2 and no more than 6. Otherwise, you have an error message. So we have this one. Then we do the calculation. Now, if int team size is larger or equal to 2, and int team size is less equal to 6, then BRN Boolean validation check equal to true, which means it is right, equal to true. Else, I have a message box. Else, message box, we're gonna display the content. So, if you want, you can check the message box definition on chapter 5, I believe. So let's just check the message box definition before we move on. So we have, we have plenty of time, so we can do so. They have, I believe they have a table here. We can check the 240. So before we do that, because I think probably you forget about the message box, we can go to the page 240 to see the table. So to help you understand a little bit better. Suppose you have a message box, as you can see here, the format is the message, bottom entry, and the caption. Now the bottom entry, so this one can be empty. Okay, so we can see here, message box username is missing the message, and we have message box title style. Okay, cancel. So you have this one, and the caption is entry error. So all the message boxes username, we have the message box as argument. So here, instead of message box style, we have the 1 here, and enter error. So this one and this the same. Okay, so message box style is 1, and this one message box style retry cancel, which is this one, is 5 because of this. So we do have different message box style. We have also we have the different icon. If you want, you can add different icons. Okay, so this one question mark, stop sign. So it is also have the, this different value like 16, 32, 48. So in the middle. So we have always have 3 parameters in our message box. The first one is message you want to display in the message box. The caption is you want to display on the top, and in the middle, where's the value. And then also if you don't want to have anything, you don't need to have anything in the middle. So in the middle is like optional. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 16, 32, make it fancy. Okay, so that is message box, bottom entry. Okay, so you can have certain values here. You can have the basic 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, or this fancy icon inside as 16, 18, 13, like something like that. So anyway, you get the idea. So let's back to the coding part. So we do know the message box need 3 values, right? 3 values. The first one is the message you want to display on the message box. So inside the message box, what do we want to display? So let me check. So we have message box, string. The first one is string. Number in team message. Then it doesn't have anything in the middle. So you don't have to worry about like icon, whatever. Okay, you don't need to have an OK cancel or retry cancel or even this special icon. The next one is the title, message box title, which is caption. String message box title. So that is error. So if you want, you have to do 2 things. We have to focus txt team.focus, make the cursor stay display on your box, and also clear out content, clear out the existing content, and you can type the next one. So text team dot clear. Okay. So that is in the try part. You want to try this part of code, convert to the integer, and if it's within the range, then that is okay. That is a valid check. If it's not within the check, then you're gonna have a message. Also, you have some exceptions, some general exceptions error. Let's say we have like 6 of them, right? The most popular one, and you have many exceptions. You can try catch exceptions as, let's see here, and if. Give me minutes to do so. So you can see it is a long coding, okay, but it's very useful. So hopefully after you finish this chapter 7, now you have a better idea what you should have inside of your final project. Okay, let me see. Do I have a? Okay, so I have uploaded the 4th. Okay, so let's start the. Let's continue. Okay, so we have tried the code. Now we're gonna catch the errors. So catch the exceptions. Okay. Catch the exception as the first one is a format exception. Format exception. Okay, so which means instead of if you run 232 into 32, you have some error. You cannot really format or convert a word or letter into a number. Okay, you can only convert a digit to a number. If you give a letter, you cannot convert. So this is the first error message. First exception. Catch exception as format exception. Then you're gonna display a different message box and do again text team.focus, get another one, get another input. So you're gonna display error message again. Message box. Your message box should have display string, number in team message again. String, sorry, actually if you want you can just copy and paste the line 125. It's the exact same thing. String message box title. If you want, you're gonna in the next part I will just copy and paste. It's easier. So we have this. Okay, so that is error message, and you do the same thing. So you do the same thing. And you're gonna wait to the next valid input. So dot focus and dot clear. That is one exception. You know, exception means like something's wrong. The first thing is the number or whatever you type, your input to your text box are not really a digit, cannot convert to a number. Okay, that is a format exception. The next one, another exception, catch an exception as, so I'm gonna do the next one exception is overflow. Overflow exception. Still not good. Okay. It's too big, it cannot handle. Now we're gonna display those message again. So what I will do is we're gonna copy and paste. It's easier, so you don't have to really worry about anything. Okay, have a message box and also clear and focus. Okay. So which means we want to start over. If I have any exception, which means error happen, so we're gonna display a message box, tell you, okay, tell you what, string number in message team. What is this right here? Please enter the number of people in your team, like a 2 to 6, and also the title, which is the error title. Okay, you don't need to have any icon. OK, cancel. So the middle one is optional. Again, so this is the one of that. Now the other one is another mistake. Okay, so catch exception again. So I will, you know what? I'm going to copy this whole catch and paste it right here. The next exception is system exception, which means we catch anything, all the other mistakes, all the other exceptions. Still, message box message tell you, okay, I'm going to have the range from 2 to 6, and we have to put our cursor in the box, text box, which is right here. Keep in mind, we have this text box waiting for us to get input, right? We click to choose from the combo box, and also we type number in this text box, and we have to make sure, is this text box input is right or not, right? We might type -1. We might type just 6, above 6, 7, it is overflow. We might type L of any letters, that will be system, the first one, format exception. So we have that. Okay, that is catch those. We try this code to see this code have some error. It's not supposed to have error. If everything's right, we should not have any exception. Exception means like something's wrong. Okay, we're gonna do it again. Next, as you can see, if you look at my code, you see, do you see anything unusual? You see this green underline under my and try. Under my and function, right? Why do they have that? Because now if I define a function, you can see, look at my title, private function as Boolean. I have a function as Boolean, which means I want to return a Boolean result. So when I call this function, now you should tell me the result, either true or false, because I'm going to use the result to assign to this in my bottom calculation, right? So we need to have some result return. I do not have any return, so I'm waiting to have a return. I'm waiting to have a return statement. That is why you see this green underline here. So it's not complete because you're missing one thing. So if you define in the head, in the function head, private function as Boolean, that means you're gonna return a Boolean value. If you have as integer, you are expecting to return an integer. But if I do not have any return statement yet, right? So I need to have something in return. What should I return? You check. Okay, you can guess. What's, if you don't look at the code, now what I should return? Look at this. Which one I should return? what value I should return to the bottom calculation. Boolean validation check. If it's within the range, then it's equal to true. Otherwise, by default, if I do not modify, my default value is false. So only if it's within the range, then I can change to true. If it's not, I will return a false, which means this value, Boolean number in team is valid false. So in the future, you know, if I define an action, those functions are an action, are doing some you know, complete some action, it will return as a result. So if you say as Boolean, that means this action will behave some, you know, and return a value, which is a Boolean. So you have to choose a false. And if it's a Boolean value, by default, it's always false. Then only in certain case, you make it the truth. Okay, in which case you won't make it true? If int size is you see here, if int size is larger equal to 2 and less equal to 6, that is true. Otherwise, it's false. But anyway, so that means we're gonna have to complete this function with a return statement. So we do return what? Return the Boolean value validated check. So I'm going to copy and paste right here because, you know, this makes my life easier. What if I misspell something? Give me an error message. So now, you know, this is validation check. This is validated variable check. So most of the time, okay, when you define this local variable, you make it a false. At what time it becomes truth? Only if your value is within 2 and 6, then you make it the truth. Okay, so that is the first one. As you can see how easy it is, right? So once we define this function, you can see the underline of this is gone, but we still have this underline. So which means, as you can see, we still have to modify, we still have to define at least 4 more functions, right? Valid dive selection, Australian dive cost, Belize cost, and Fiji cost. Now we're gonna finish this one and do the rest of this on Wednesday. Okay, as I told you guys, we have plenty of time. I want to just slow down. I know some of you guys are doing very fast. You probably feel boring, but I hope, you know, if you listen maybe 10% or 20% of my lecture, it probably will help you. Okay, just don't waste your time. Dylan, what are you doing, Dylan? Dylan, what are you doing? Are you in this my RCC page for a very long time? Oh, yeah, because I already have most of the projects done in my house. Oh, seriously? Okay, okay. CC here is looking at the, my RCC banner. I want to remind you, the summer classes registration already open. So if you want to take summer classes, you can start register. It's good time to learn some math. So if you need like take a pre-calc or calculus, you can do so. You know, just concentrate on the math class in like 5 weeks or 8 weeks. Also for your information, I do open a HTML class in the summer too, which is from June 1st until August 1st. It is for web design. Okay, CSP 149. Okay, very similar to this. We're gonna do the hands-on. I mean, we're gonna do 8 chapters together, and we do the chapter project together, and you do the case problem yourself. And we will have 2 projects, one for midterm, one for final. I will not give you any test for the 149. Also, it will be on Zoom. Okay, so you have to be on Zoom every Monday and Wednesday from 9 to 12:40. Back to the topic. Okay, so the last function we do today will be, as you can see here, make sure the dive selection is right, is valid. So let's do that. Now we do need, okay, I do have 2 parameters. Okay, and the 2 parameters, a special parameter called by reference. Well, now what does by reference means? Not only we have a parameter, but also this parameter is a special parameter, we can modify the original memory space. So which means we can return value by that. Okay, so we can, generally speaking, if I use by reference, I can return more than one value. We can return value by using return statement. You know, return statement only return one value. But since you modify the original memory space, it kind of return another value. So let's do this one, validate type selection. So as you can see, validate type selection, we do have two parameters, right? Boolean type is select or string selected team. So we have these two parameters here. So right after AND function, we're gonna have our second function we're gonna write, which is private function. And this one, I'm gonna just type I'm gonna just make a copy of this name because it's too long. I don't want to, no. Control C and Control A. Control C, Control A is your best friend. Now we have this one, and we have two parameters regarding to when you call this function right here. See, you have two parameters. So you want to have a special parameter by reference. You have to tell them that is by reference. If I don't tell them, I can say, you know, either you don't have any parameter, or you can say by value, by BYVAL, by value. That is the easiest one. But we are using by reference. See, by ref and by val, they have two types different. By reference, it means I can go into the corresponding original memory space and modify the value. So Gavin, you finished this one already? So you're using your cell phone like today.
Yeah, I finished it.
Still listen to me, put your phone away, please. Otherwise, if everybody do that, it's not good. Okay. As Boolean. Okay. And two and one more, because when you call the procedures, you have two parameters. So now you have to modify. I mean, you have to define two parameters. They are both by reference, and then we have string type as string. So Boolean type, this one, Boolean type is corresponding to Boolean type is selected. Now, string type is corresponding to string selected team. So when you define a function, you have to make sure how many parameters you have. Then when you call the functions, then the parameter, the actual parameter should be passed in order. So the first one we define is Boolean type. We have not Boolean type, BLM type is corresponding to Boolean type is selected. The other one is corresponding to this. So when I call functions, it's always the actual parameter is always in order. Okay, the first one is corresponding to this. It's called formal parameter. So when we define a function, those parameters we call them as a formal parameter. But then when I call this function, the real parameter I'm passing to, which is this one, the Boolean type is selected or string selected team, we call them actual parameter. So the relationship between the actual parameter and the formal parameter is they should have exact same amount. So if I have two formal parameter, then I should have two actual parameter, and they corresponding to each other in order. So the first one is corresponding to the first formal parameter. The second one is corresponding to the second formal parameter. Okay, very easy to understand. It's like very similar to the math. Okay, so in the future, for all high level language, it's always the same, always. So we have so this one we're gonna return as an integer. Okay, as you can see, it's AND with AND function. So if I do as integer, which means it will expect me to return a value, and this value should be an integer type. Okay, so before AND function, I should have a return statement. Return what? Return a value. Okay, which is integer type. Should, you know. So this one, as integer, as Boolean, define what value you should return, what kind of value you should return. So previously you return a Boolean, now you return a integer. Now let's do the what do you say, comment first. So this function ensures the user selected a div type. Also, by the way, now if you have any question, please ask me, okay? If you have any question, you can ask me. I do have my office hours online and in my office. And so far till now, nobody come to my office asking me questions, okay? You don't know I have my office hours right after this, right before this class, okay? So you should, if you know, if you want, you can come to my office. But if you feel like, you know, I don't want to come this early, then you just email me, okay? You just email me, okay? I check my email all the time. I don't, you know, don't hesitate to ask me, because some people say like, oh, well, I don't want to bother the teacher. No, ask me questions so you can have a better idea, better understanding. Okay, it can build you up a good foundation. Okay, so this we use this Visual Basic to build a good foundation. Okay, even like how many years ago? 30 years ago, when I was in college, we used VB as a first language. Okay, to learn the fundamental of the programming, because it's easy to handle and it's provide you idea how to define variable, how to define function, how to pass parameters. Very similar to the other languages. Okay, it is so this one is very useful and easy to learn. So we have this comment here. Let's see. We're gonna define int div type. And this is the div type just give you like a okay the index div type as integer. Okay, I use this IntelliSense. Just click the tab key and it automatically become here. But you can see here now my int div type is on red, you know, green underlines, means I have not used that yet. Okay, I'm gonna use the try catch to see do they have any error message or not. Right, try catch, try this block of statement to see do I have any error to catch. So try int div type equal to convert what? Convert index, right? Because you're converting the combo box index, convert in the list to, so we have list div, which is on selected index. Okay, so as long as you have a selection, a combo box or list box, they always have index to help you to handle. So the index number is always from 0 to n-1. So we have this. Okay, so which means if I select from this list, okay, then I will return an index number. So just like you know, Australia, they have 3 types, right? The first one is 0, second one is 1, third one is 2. Those one will help you to just do the calculation, Australia calculation or Fiji calculation. We have this. Then we have a string div equal to the list div dot selected div select index. Sorry, it's not select index. Select item dot to string. To string is empty space. Which means you don't need any format, right? So previously, if you have 2 string, you have a double quotation C, double quotation F, double quotation G. So if you don't have any parameters, that means right, I'm just use the default format, just general, okay, general number. Then we choose Boolean div as true, okay, set up as true. So we're gonna try catch the errors. Try the catch exception. Now this exception is system exception. As a system exception, system exception. Okay, now detect if a div type is not selected. So what if you did not select anything from here? If you do not select anything right here, now you're gonna have error message, because supposedly after you select from the common list, then you type from the team box from the part. Then after you select the team, then you select from the list, because every location have a different list, right? So you do that. Then we're gonna do the message box. So message box, we know we have 3 parameters. The first one is the content inside. Select div type. Okay, that is the in the first in the message box, you have 3 parameters. The first parameter is the message you display. The second one is, do you want to have OK cancel button or retry cancel button or some fancy buttons? But it's optional, so which means you don't need to. So we have empty space. That means we don't want anything right here. Then we have title, which is caption arrow. So you're gonna see the title on the top is arrow. Now, if we do have exceptions, then which means the Boolean div is false. Something's wrong. So we can add and try. So that is the catch, try, catch, try. Try, catch, and try. That means I'm trying this block of comments or block code. If there's something wrong, what I will do, I will have an error message doing that. Now, as you can see here, they still have a green underline across this AND function, because it's waiting for you to have a return statement. What you want to return? Boolean div, right? Because you want to not Boolean div. Actually, you are returning the int div type, which is an integer. So the only integer right here is int div type. So you're gonna return this file. So we're gonna do return. It automatically will make it uppercase letter. Okay, return what? Int div type. Okay, so whatever you select from this list box. So that's it. I'm gonna stop right here. As you can see, we still have a lot of typing going on. So next class, we're gonna keep working on this. Okay, and also if you have any question, please let me know so we can learn from each other. Okay, not just like in this, because like last time when student asked me what is empty parenthesis, I probably did not cover. So now I'll tell you, the empty parenthesis means this is a function, it's a procedure. Okay, so this is important to you ask me questions. So that is all for today.